Spaghetti and meatballs with 3 kinds of meat in the meatballs and our own homemade super quick spaghetti sauce. Today's gonna be epic. We have lots to do, so there's no f***ing around. We're starting with the meatballs. They take about 20 minutes in the oven, take us a few minutes to make. And we start with 3 types of meat. 3 types of meat.
3 types of meat.
Here we go. Closest to you is a pound of ground beef. On the left side is a pound of ground veal, and the right side is a pound of ground pork. It's a good start. If you didn't like any one of these, you just increase the beef, for example. But I think the combination of all 3 is really good. And then it's as simple as adding the following ingredients. 3 cloves of garlic, big ones. 3.
Your spoon's in the middle of it.
Sorry. 2/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. 1 cup of Panko breadcrumbs. 2 eggs. 2 teaspoons of salt, kosher salt. Fresh ground pepper. About a teaspoon. Teaspoon of red pepper flakes. 1 cup of ricotta cheese. This is what makes them moist and amazing. And then a little handful of, what's this called?
Parsley.
Sorry. And then a little handful of chopped parsley, or as Max would say when he was a little kid, a hand pile.
It makes sense.
I guess it does.
It is a hand pile, is it not?
It is a hand pile. And now we mix, but we mix with our hands because it's really the best thing that you can do. We don't want to overwork the meat because it can become tough. We just want to incorporate everything. And using my hands, for me, is actually one of the fun parts of cooking. So here we go. If you're squeamish, use a spoon or give it to your kids to do. They got to start sometime, right? You're taking care of, paying for them, all that shit. Make them do it. So I like to just break the yolks up a bit. Ooh, gross, but fun. And then everything just starts. And the fact that there's so much moisture in here, the ricotta, the egg, is really gonna help keep these amazingly moist and tender. That's it. What time it is now, Max? It's time to make meatballs. Get our parchment lined baking sheet and we begin. So there's a couple things you can do. I think this is considered a 1-ounce scoop, so I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna get about this much, put it in my hand. We go right there and continue. And then as you can imagine, I didn't do that.
You were doing that as you talked.
And then as you can imagine, it's just more of the same.
I didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
I have you on camera. All right. We're going to have a replay right now because I can have you
off,
on
off.
camera doing it.
And then, as you can imagine,
And then as you can imagine, you just keep doing this until they're all balled up, if that's an expression. And when they're all lined up and looking pretty, off they go to the oven. Okay, here's the deal. The meatballs are in the oven at 400 degrees. It's gonna take about 20 minutes until they're done and perfect. Look, the other way you can make them is put them in a pot of pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce, marinara sauce, and let them cook that way. But I like what happens to the meatball when it roasts in the oven. I think it develops more flavor, deeper flavor, better flavor. But because we've got ricotta inside, they still will stay tender and moist, which is a hallmark of a meatball when it's just been cooked in sauce. But so we get the benefit of the roasting and the benefit of the moist, tender meatball because the ricotta, it's a win all over. I made 3 pounds of meat that made about 70 meatballs. I had to continue on to another baking sheet to get them all done. 70 1-ounce meatballs for 3 pounds, or 35 2-ounce meatballs. I could continue with this math, but my head's starting to hurt.
How many 3-ounce meatballs?
I don't know how many 3-ounce meatballs. Look, I made a big batch because I like to make them, cook them, freeze them, put them in zipper lock bags, and put them in the freezer for when I need them. That's the thing to do. Cook once, eat a bunch of times. That's what I like to say. Now we're gonna make a sauce. The sauce says, do we count salt?
No.
Well, 5 ingredients. It goes together quickly. The centerpiece of it are San Marzano whole tomatoes. You can buy other types of whole peeled tomatoes, but the San Marzano ones, not even this brand, Cento, which are very good, but other people make San Marzano tomatoes, but that's what you want. And if you can't find them, order them online. And if you don't want to do that, just get them whatever you can get. But these are good to keep around. So, pot on the stove, oil will go in. Well, why do I tell you? Why don't I show you? We start with about 1/4 cup of good olive oil. Looks like that to me. Now this pot is already hot, so now I'm going to put in about 5 cloves of garlic that I don't want to brown. I'll lift it off the heat a bit, but I want to get super flavorful. And just as they're getting there,
Oh my God, the smell.
smells crazy. Just as they're getting there, now I'm going to take the tomatoes. I'm going to pour some of the sauce in to stop that potential browning. That was the liquid from the can. And now these are the tomatoes themselves, whole peeled, that I'm now going to bust up. And there's a chance that somebody's getting sprayed. But this is just cooking. This is basic cooking 101. Just continue this process until all the tomatoes are squished up. I mean, I like to do a pretty good job. Some big pieces are okay, but you know, do your best. And if you want to do this over top of like a big bowl first, so you're not doing it at the last minute over the stove, then that's fine. That's just a fine. Ah, it's hot. And you see what I also like about this? Can you see right here, Max? I do it with the spoon.
Yeah.
That's a piece of basil. Right there. Boy, these tomatoes are so fucking good. Actually, that might not be it. Don't put that in. I don't know what that is. Hold on. No, there's always some of that. I just actually don't know what it
We
is.
should figure out what the unidentified object is in our tomato
Is it
salad.
basil? Hold on. Basil leaf, thank you. It is basil. So maybe. I mean, it made sense that it was basil. Look at this. There's your basil leaf right there. Beautiful, huh? So you bust that up. I mean, it's gonna, as it cooks and gets hot, it's gonna start to sort of melt a little bit anyways, but. Okay, last little piece. The sauce, everything's busted. Now, I rinse my hands. We're gonna let this come to a simmer. Oh boy, is this gonna be good. And we add just the other few ingredients. That's 2, here comes the rest. Oregano, dried. This is not the place for fresh oregano, ladies and gentlemen, but it is the place for dried oregano. Now go about 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flake, our friend from the Meatballs. And finally, about 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And Maxie, we mix. So the question becomes, how thick do you like your sauce? What you need to do is you need to let this come to a little boil, turn it down to a simmer, and then check it in about 10 minutes. If it's too thick, you can add a little bit of water to it. But it's looking pretty good to me right now. Sorry, I didn't give that to Max clean enough. But it's looking pretty good to me right now. You wanna know why I love this? I love because how this is gonna taste, but I love at this point that you can see like a little pool of some of that olive oil that's just starting to infiltrate the whole thing in the loveliest way. And now little pockets of simmer are happening. Mamma mia. 5 ingredients. I made a big deal about the tomatoes, and I also said good olive oil. When there's only 5 ingredients, you want them all to be really good. You can use other things, but just be mindful of that. Cool? Meatballs are almost done. Sauce is now simmering, and we're a few minutes away. I'll get the pasta going, and then we're there. It's gonna be fabulous. I did not mean to say fab. Did not mean to say fab. Hey, can I say one thing while I'm standing here?
You can.
So Max knows about this. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I got in one evening about 6 texts or emails from friends saying, hey, have you seen this on Facebook? And somebody that I didn't know went on Facebook. It was a woman that worked for a hospice here in San Diego. And a hospice is end-of-life care. People that have been given very little time left. And generally a hospice is a hospital, is a care home, or it can be in-home care that you receive to help make your final days as comfortable as possible. So this woman was working with a hospice, and one of the patients there, a gentleman in his 80s, asked as a request, he'd like to cook. He used to be a cook. He wanted to cook with somebody, be like a sous chef for an afternoon. And this woman in this Facebook post said, does anyone know Sam the cooking guy? So I didn't follow her, and the 6 or however many people emailed me and said, hey, have you seen this? So I reached out to her. We arranged for me to cook with this gentleman. And it was supposed to be last Friday, but he wasn't feeling well, couldn't do it, so we moved it to this Friday. And today is today's Wednesday, so 2 days from now. She called me last night. He passed away. I didn't know him. I only knew his name, Charles. And there was a point in me sharing this before I got choked up. The point was, do things in your life while you want to, while you can, for you and for other people. Don't put stuff off. And poor Charles couldn't help putting this off. And I don't know that Charles knew who I was. This woman did. And I was really looking forward to it. And she said, you know, you're welcome to bring cameras and stuff. And I said, this is not a camera moment. This is a me and Charles moment. But don't let stuff slide. You really shouldn't.
You're a mensch.
I tried to be. Okay. Look what's happening here. Beautiful. So now we're going to turn it down a bit. I don't want boiling. I do want simmering. Look, it's like hot lava. Isn't that what it looks like in the movies? Just those random bubbles coming up. I'm going to get the spaghetti. We're very close. Our sauce is looking amazing. Do you need to see it again or no? You good? Yeah.
We're good. I'll cut to a shot. I got a shot.
Forget it. You don't need to see it. Here, let me just show you with this little guy. You want to do that? Do you want to stop him moving?
No, no. I can get a shot.
I never get to do anything fun. I only stand here and fucking cook. I'm your monkey. Dance, dance. Look how beautiful it is. But now it's spaghetti time. My water's boiling. Hey. So we take a handful. And in it goes. You know the drill, right? Salted water. Spaghetti goes in. Takes about 8 minutes. We like it al dente, which means firm to the, I think it actually means firm to the tooth, but we interpret that to mean firm to the bite. Which doesn't mean hard, it means firm. Now, we talk meatballs because here they are. I put them under the broiler for about 1.5 minutes just before I took them out to give them a little color on top. But I want you to know something. These guys are tender gentle, moist, and freaking perfect. We've all eaten them, and what's the opinion, boys?
They're so damn good.
They're so damn good.
Crazy.
But here's the best thing. While we're waiting for the spaghetti, just get just a little sauce. Nestle just a half a meatball in that. It's just there, gentle, waiting to be loved or eaten. I could cry. Good strong flavor of garlic. The ricotta has made it just pillow-like. And the 3 different meats in this, forget about it. The thing's crazy. We're almost there, just the spaghetti and then we're out. It's all over the crying. Eating, crying. Already did some of that. Spaghetti's ready, sauce is ready, meatballs are ready, my stomach is ready. I say we throw this thing together and get on it. Come on. Here's my thinking, Max. I'm gonna take some sauce. Holy mother of God. And put some of it on there. And then quickly take some pasta and add it. Wow, the steam. That was intense. A little more. And now, how about some meatballs, Max? You like this?
Oh, yes.
These guys can turn over because they're unattractive on their back sides. So let's move over here. Let's throw a couple more in. And now, my young ward. Do you know who else was a ward?
Who?
Batman. What's his name? Robin. He was Batman's
you're right,
ward.
Yeah.
And now my young ward. Let's do this first.
You know they say that he might have been a little more than a ward?
Yes.
Wait, that's like really f***ed up if you think about it. So Batman was like taking advantage of his young ward?
Yeah. I don't think that happened. I want to believe that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Well, I guess in a business relationship, there was something wrong with that. Okay, so we'll start first with a bite of the spaghetti in this very quick, very delicious sauce. And that's just a basic bite of spaghetti with so good sauce. You think I would have better words than that.
So good sauce.
So good sauce. Okay. If all you took away from today was that quick sauce, I'd be happy. But it doesn't have to be all that you take away because we also have, wait for it, because we also have freaking meatball deliciousness. That guy right there. Please. Please. And now the last thing that you have to do is now you get some spaghetti and you get the meatball together in one and you go. Garlic. Cheese. Oh, I could have put more cheese on. We'll save that for the JPEG. Garlic, cheese, I mean, everything that's delicious. The whole thing is a perfect bite in my mouth. And don't forget, just because you have meatballs doesn't mean they have to be in spaghetti. There's a recipe on my website someplace for a pesto meatball bread thing, a terrible description. But you make like a white sauce, and that goes on thick French bread that's been halved with pesto and meatballs on top and cheese on top of that, and school just got out. And it's amazing.
Do you know where else that recipe is? Right here on the channel?
Oh, we put that on, we did that on YouTube.
Yes.
That was probably back in the day when I bought meatballs. Or did I make them?
No, I think bought.
Bought meatballs. We don't have to buy meatballs anymore. Kelly, my wife, Mrs. Cooking Guy, said to me, "What are you making?" I said, "Blah, blah, blah, the meatballs." And I got to go to the store. And she goes, "Why don't you just buy them?" I go, "What do you mean buy them?" She goes, "Buy them made." I go, "Do you not watch the channel? Have you not seen how we progressed over the years?" Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. We still have a merchandise sale on. The code is 2020 to get 20% off. And there's all kinds of cool nonsense like this. If you haven't subscribed, we'd love you to do that. Hit the little notification bell so you don't have to go looking for us. That means we come looking for you and tell you when there's new nonsense. And that's it. And finally, let's do this. Let's dedicate today to Charles.
Yes, love it.
It was supposed to be shrimp and grits I was going to cook with him. But we honor him with our amazing meatballs and super delicious quick sauce. Charles, this is for you.